Hello, everyone. This is Rosalinda Rivera, and this is the recording of my symbolic representation of a place video journal. And I'm going to talk about a place in the city of Santa Ana. I currently live in Santa Ana, so I decided to find some locations near my surroundings that I felt passionate about that were meaningful to the city as well. So as I mentioned early on in some of my discussion boards, I live right across the street from a cemetery, the Santa Ana Cemetery, and creates a really peaceful, quiet, and loving environment. I really enjoy seeing the families go and share time with their loved ones that have passed away. And it's just a nice reminder to stay connected with family, with friends, and just how much people can mean to you. But for the majority of my assignment, I want to talk about 4th Street in the city of Santa Ana, more specifically 4th Street Market, sometimes referred to as Calle Cuatro, which literally means 4th Street in Spanish. And this area has been part of downtown Santa Ana for a very long time. It's gone through a lot of changes, and a lot of, gentrification within the last 5 to 10 years. This area was originally predominantly Hispanic-owned businesses for Hispanic consumers. So, for example, there were shops near on the street that were leather shops, like, for example, leather boots, belts, hats, a shop where you could go and buy quinceañera dresses, which is kind of a quintessential 15th birthday party in the Hispanic culture, where you have very lovely large gowns and a lot of symbolic meaning behind those, that birthday celebration. There was a place called Ritmo Latino, which is a music store in terms of CDs, records. You could buy concert tickets there. It had some really cool aspects to where they had all around the perimeter of the music store headphones set up with the newest albums that were coming out in all the different genres of Spanish music. And then you could just go, and I remember going there for hours and just listening to what the new music that was coming out. And even though, in my family we were didn't have very many means, so I couldn't buy CDs because we just didn't have the money to do that. I was able to go and listen to kind of the new music coming out, and that was really fun. And eventually, as my brother got older and he got a part-time job, he would go and buy concert tickets for him to go see, based on like some money that he saved. And I thought that was really exciting to know and be able to talk to him when he came back about the concerts that he went to. So they also had a lot of celebrations, and they had a carnival in this area for many, many years. But the fabric and the makeup of this street is changing, and a lot of those historic events are no longer permitted, unfortunately. And a lot of the shops are so very different. So I mentioned that there were, shops like leather shops, there was quinceañera shops, there were music shops, Mexican restaurants, independent theaters, and now the shops are very much more geared towards middle class citizens. There's a shop that I visited recently when taking the photos and doing research for this project that sells tennis shoes, sneakers, and I know that's like a huge culture thing right now, but the tennis shoes were thousands of dollars a pair. T-shirts that were several $100s, wallets that were several $100s. And I mean, I guess this is not something that is part of my history or my likes, so I don't quite understand how you can pay thousands and thousands of dollars for a pair of sneakers. But again, that's not my demographic and that's not my area of interest. What I really miss about this is this area is the sense of community. And I guess, to kind of switch it up, there is still a sense of community. It just looks different. And we have to ask ourselves as consumers, or I have to ask myself as a consumer, am I okay with those changes? Would I have liked a variation of old and new? And I think that's kind of where I lean towards. I do appreciate some of the changes that have been made. A lot of the shops are still privately owned business. There's a really great stationery shop that's a woman-owned business. But I do wish they had kept some of the historic shops and maybe not have pushed them out with the such large increases in rental space that some of the history of the place had no choice but to move on. But it is still a place for community. It just looks a little bit different, and I can still appreciate that. So in 4th Street Market, this is the back end. There's a lot of seating inside for eating. And then there's this outside space where they have Giant Jenga or Connect 4, like the large games. All the way at the end here, past this tree, they'll have someone playing music sometimes. So it is still a place for community, having fun, enjoying, having good food. But like I said, the makeup of that is a little bit different, and I think that's okay, as long as you can incorporate a little bit of the old and a little bit of the new. So hopefully that's something that can kind of have a resurgence. In this location, on the inside, there is a kind of inner circle back to back with a bunch of different restaurants, and it's supposed to be kind of like a lunch truck setup where there are several little stations, and they all share one big industrial shared kitchen, and then just some kitchen spaces within their little quote unquote lunch truck space. And you have some really great food options that are constantly changing. You have like a Mexican Chinese fusion place called Dos Chinos. You have some, pizza places. You have some vegan places. You have gourmet ice cream places, all kinds of different fun things. And one of the great things about this area and the sense of community for kind of a younger generation is it does allow you to kind of have a novelty experience. So recently we went to this location to celebrate my little brother's 30th birthday, and we wanted to go someplace where we could have some good food, enjoy a good time. So we went to this location and we purchased little bits of food from each of the different vendors, or a majority of the vendors, not every single one. And we ate community style. We shared, we tasted, and it was a great time. And it was very, very yummy, delicious food. We did some gifts for my little brother. We went out and played some games. They did have music that night. And then we walked around 4th Street and went to this location called Michoacana, where we had some kind of traditional Hispanic ice cream flavors. And overall, it was a really great, fun night. So those are the things that I enjoy about the location still. Another thing is there's a celebration called Noche de Altares and a Day of the Dead celebration. It's called Dia de los Muertos. And something really great about this is you have the community get together and create shrines or altars for family, for loved ones, for celebrities that have fallen. Like you'll see in this picture, above the sombrero, there's Jenny Rivera, Selena Quintanilla, just some people that mean a lot to the community, and you build a shrine. I saw this really powerful shrine that was dedicated to victims of domestic violence within the city with the pictures, and it was built by a nonprofit organization that assists victims of domestic violence, and the photos that they had are victims that they had lost due to domestic violence, which is very powerful and very moving that the community would see some benefit in that type of organization and build a whole shrine to it. And you can see my niece and I on the left here. They have different artists that come and show their talents in face painting, in art, in materials, and creation. And you get to, and it's set up in booths like a flea market type of style. And you get to support local artists, local vendors that also are very culturally connected to someone that looks like yourself. So I thought that was really neat. So wanted to share that as well. So, I think something that I really learned from this assignment is things do change. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But the amount that they change and who's in power when things change is something that we need to communicate. And if you feel passionate about a certain aspect as the consumer, I think it should have been my job to advocate and to say and to communicate the needs. If I don't support local business, there's no way local businesses can survive. And really thinking about the mapping tools and social situations and issues that we've seen, everyone contributes to the growth or the non-growth or the inability to maintain business or whatever it may be. The consumers and people that interact and people that feel passionate about that can essentially make or break a business, for example, in these situations, and really analyzing and knowing as a consumer what impact are you making or not making by not visiting certain vendors. In this world of, Amazon, online shopping, easy things, it's so easy for me to say, okay, I'm just going to buy this on Amazon because it's so much easier, or go to Target or go to Walmart versus visiting shops that support small business owners, women business owners, or Hispanic business owners. And something that I'll keep thinking about and keep in mind when I'm making my choices when I'm trying to be, a conscious consumer. Anyways, thank you so much for listening, and I hope you enjoyed my video journal.